Hashem said to Avram, leave your birthplace, leave your father's house, go to the land of Canaan. As soon as Avram gets to this land of Canaan, he finds a famine, nothing to eat, and he now has to leave that land and go down to Egypt. On the way down to Egypt, he turns to his wife Sarah and he says the words, behold, you're a beautiful woman. Rashi is bothered by the question, why is he now focusing on that? Why does he now notice it? It almost sounds like Avram didn't even notice it before. Rashi explains that that's correct. Up until that point, Avram was not aware of his wife's beauty. Now that he was going to Egypt, Egypt were hedonists. The Egyptians were people who might well take a married woman because she's beautiful. It was now applicable for him to look whether she was beautiful or not. Therefore, he turns, looks at her and says, you're a beautiful woman. At this point, he noticed. Up until that point, he didn't. And this Rashi is rather perplexing, because we know that Hashem created beauty and attraction for a particular reason. Men and women are different. Men and women have different temperaments, different natures. They come from different perspectives. And for a man and woman to live in harmony and peace as husband and wife is very difficult. To allow for a proper bonding, a proper love and harmony, Hashem created different forces. One of those forces is attraction. When a man is physically attracted to his wife, it's easier to create the bond. It's easier for him to feel an attachment, a devotion, and therefore Hashem created physical beauty as a tool, as a technique to allow a man to increase the sense of love and attraction. If that's so, why didn't Avram Avinu look at his wife to see her beauty? Sarah was one of the most beautiful women who ever lived. Wouldn't that have increased the love and attachment that he and Sarah had one to another? Why didn't he look at her with those eyes until that point? And I believe the answer to that question is that it wouldn't have changed their relationship an iota. Avram and Sarah were on such a pure spiritual level, their devotion one to another, their bond of love and attachment so strong that the physical wasn't relevant. It couldn't have increased it because they were on such a spiritual plane, so dedicated one to the other, so deeply, madly in love one with the other, that the physicality was irrelevant. And it's illustrative to see every once in a while the greatness of the Avos. To recognize people who walk the same land as we do, breathe the same air as we do, but who live on a very different plane. For us in our world, we shouldn't use this. Hashem gave us these tools to use because in our reality, we need these techniques, we need these systems to help increase the bond of love and attachment. But once upon a time, there were great people, our ancestors were on such a pure spiritual level that beauty, physical attraction was irrelevant. It wouldn't have changed the relationship. It didn't matter because Avram was so pure, Sarah was so pure, that the bond of love and attachment was total and complete without any physicality. It's illustrative to see greatness. It's also important for us to understand that we have to be aware of it. In our world, we still use physicality. We still use these techniques because we're not on that level. But it's important every once in a while to open our perspective and see the greatness of a human and see to quite what an extent a human being can reach to be totally devoted one to another without any physical attraction, just the pure spirits bound one to another.